I like to make sure I eat vegetables with every meal, so for this dish I'm using a zucchini. I just slice that zucchini down the middle and then cut it into half moons. I also have some fresh basil and I stack the leaves one on top of the other and then I roll it out like a cigar and then chop away. Make sure you have a sharp knife and let the knife do the work. For the pasta, I'm just using regular store-bought pasta. I prefer to eat real pasta and eat less of it rather than eat something like zucchini noodles or shiratake noodles, but eat more volume of that. But you do you and use whatever spaghetti or spaghetti replacement that you like. Of course, I weigh mine out and I'll be using 50 grams of spaghetti, which will be about 176 calories. Now I get my pan on the stove and add in about a half tablespoon of oil. Again, it's important to measure because this is where the calories can add up. To that, I add my ground beef, I season it with salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano and 1 small packet of chili flakes, the ones that come with your pizza. Everyone has those at home. I also throw in a splash of Worcestershire sauce. Then I just saute that. Now I'm using a store-bought marinara sauce, which is a mushroom flavored one. You can make your own, but this is just easy to use and the whole jar is like 200 calories. I add that to the beef in the pan and then I also use some water to rinse out the jar. Waste nothing. Now I'm just gonna cover this and let it cook for 5 minutes. After that, I open it up, I add the zucchini and cover it and cook it for 2 minutes. I want the zucchini to still be a little firm. Finally, I open it up and finish it with fresh basil. I give it one final good mix and my meat sauce is ready. That is 5 servings, with each serving being 234 calories with 23 grams of protein. Now how do you calculate one serving? Well, you pour your sauce into your storage container and then check the weight of the full dish. Mine is 1098 grams, which means one serving is about 219 grams. You can eat this meat sauce with anything really, but since I'm eating mine with pasta, let's cook that up. I get a pot of salted water on the stove and once it comes to a rolling boil, I add in my pasta. Now I'm just following the cooking instructions on the packet and this says 9 minutes for al dente, which means 10 minutes for me. Once it's cooked, I remove it from the pot. Now I get my plate and add the pasta to that. Then I add on 219 grams of my meat sauce and finish with a sprig of basil for the photos. And our delicious spaghetti and meat sauce for dinner is ready. It clocks in at a total of 414 calories with 29 grams of protein. Got to be meticulous with that tracking, so get out that scale and let's make our burger sauce. I'm using the super low calorie mayo that's like 10 calories per serving and the local barbecue sauce that's 22 calories per serving. So it's 2 parts of mayo to 1 part of barbecue sauce, which means 30 grams of mayo to 15 grams of barbecue sauce. This recipe makes 3 servings with 1 serving being 15 grams. Now for the bun, I'm using a plain old regular hamburger bun which weighs about 65 grams and is about 176 calories. So I just slice that bun and get ready. For my burger patty, I got some lean ground beef and to season it, I'm using this caper berbere made by a local company, Ishka Farms. It's got great flavor and you can use any store-bought spice mix you like, then season your beef with that and also salt if needed. Now I get out my special blue glove and give it all a good mix. Now I weigh out my patty, so I get the scale and we're making each patty about 125 grams. So weigh that out and roll it into a ball. Now get your griddle on the stove and lay down that bread and toast those buns nicely. Once you get some color, remove them. Now spray some pan spray on your griddle and then place your burger ball and press down on it with your spatula. Use a parchment paper to prevent sticking. Now you don't want to make it a full smash burger, so let it be a bit thick, don't smash it too much. Remember, this is lean beef. Now let it cook for 2 minutes and then flip it over. Put a slice of cheese and cover and let that cheese melt. Once that's done, remove the burger patty from the griddle. Now to assemble the burger, get your scale out. Put on those toasted buns, spread exactly 15 grams of that burger sauce, which is only 17 calories, then some lettuce, 2 slices of tomato, season that with salt, pepper, put the patty on top, and a little secret is to pour any resting juices from the plate on the top bun. Cover and your burger is ready. This is actually a nice, healthy, high-protein meal that clocks in at about 505 calories with 37 grams of protein. For the meat of our meat and potatoes, I'm going to be using fillet of beef. I honestly suggest you get whatever steak cut is affordable to you. I bought a whole tenderloin, which was actually quite a small tenderloin, very badly cleaned and given to me, but I managed to cut a couple of good steaks out of it. I got those steaks on a wire rack and I seasoned them with salt and pepper on both sides, and then I popped them in the fridge to kind of dry brine. Oh, I forgot to add garlic powder, so I also seasoned it with garlic powder on both sides and then returned it to the fridge. Next, I peel my potatoes, and I'm just using whatever regular potatoes we get here in Bombay City, but I believe russet potatoes is what is best for my foreign friends. Once peeled, I cut them into medium-sized cubes which help them cook faster. This is roughly 500 grams of potatoes. I wash them under water and then just let them sit in the water for a bit. I get a pot of water on the stove now and make it salty like the sea by stirring in some salt. Then I drain and add the potatoes to it. I turn the heat on and cover and cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. After which I open it up, I run my knife through the potato, and if it cuts through like a hot knife through butter, then it means the potatoes are cooked. And then I get them out of the pan. Now I add some butter into a bowl, and then I get out my potato ricer and I rice the hot potatoes right into the bowl of butter. Now you can use a regular potato masher, that's fine, but the fluffiness of a potato ricer is unmatched. It just does something to the texture. Anyway, I season it with some pepper, no salt because the water was already salty, and then I give everything a good mix. And my mashed potatoes are pretty much done and ready. These are some of the lightest and fluffiest mashed potatoes you will eat. Now let's cook the steaks. I heat a teaspoon of avocado oil in my pan, and when it's ripping hot, I add in the steaks. I'm just looking to get a nice sear on all sides of the steak. I mean, just look at that crust. So sear the steaks on all sides, and once you've cooked that, you can remove it. I will now sear the next lot. Now don't worry about the doneness of the steak because this is a recipe where the steak is cooked twice. So it's fine if the steak is a little blue or raw inside. Anyway, remove the steaks when done and let them rest. In the same pan, I will now add a packet of spinach and some water and cover it and let it wilt down. After 2 minutes, pop the lid, and ideally you should season it with some salt here, which I forgot to do, but let that liquid cook out, and once that's done, remove the spinach from the pan. Now I'm going to cut my steak after it's been properly rested, and you can see that it's rather blue bordering on raw, and that's okay because it's going to get cooked again. So cut them into nice cubes, and now let's do our second cook. In the same pan, I'm going to add some water, some Worcestershire sauce and some soya sauce. I will season that with pepper, and now reduce that down till it's a syrupy consistency. Then you just add in your beef and toss that and cook it on a high heat till that glaze coats all the beef. Then you just remove it from the pan. Time to plate up one portion of this meal, and as always, get out your scale. 100 grams of mashed potato, 100 grams of cooked spinach, and 100 grams of that steak. And that's your full dinner, clocking in at 460 calories, 280 calories for the steak, 157 for the potato, and 22 for the spinach. Now that's a good way to finish your day. To make the marinade for our chicken, get out your kitchen scale. We're going to start with 100 grams of yogurt, 15 grams of garlic, 5 grams of mint leaves, 5 grams of coriander, 1 teaspoon of chaat masala, 1 teaspoon of salt, and the juice of half a lime. And then blitz it. Now this wasn't the best idea because ideally I should have blended everything except the yogurt and then added that mix to the yogurt. Anyway, I get my chicken in a bowl, and I'm using chicken leg meat, and I pour the marinade over. Now you can see mine is liquid because I blended the yogurt, which I should not have done, but hey, this will also work. Anyway, I pop it in the fridge for about 4 hours to marinate. Now I got some purple cabbage that I'm going to grate because we need to make a slaw for the wrap. I also get a carrot and grate that. Now we have our cabbage and carrot grated. Let's add some sriracha sauce, some of that lower than low fat mayo, season this with salt, squeeze some fresh lime juice, and then chop up some spring onion greens and add it to the slaw. Mix everything well, and our spicy slaw for the wrap is ready. Next, I chop up some onion into slices, which we are going to be cooking along with our chicken, and also some green bell peppers that I will cut into nice little cubes. Get a pan on the stove, and when it's hot, throw in your chicken, marinade and all. And now obviously mine is all liquid because I blended the yogurt, so I need to cook out this liquid. I add the onions as well and a teaspoon of olive oil, and now I patiently wait to cook out that liquid. Once that's done, I flip the chicken over and you can see that amazing crust I've developed on the meat. That's all flavor. Next, I add in the green bell pepper, and I also add some water to deglaze the pan because you can see all those brown bits at the bottom, and that will mix with the water and it'll form like a brown gravy almost, and that's all flavor there. And we're going to mix that so that the chicken is coated in that sauce, and you want to cook it down till it's a sticky glaze on the chicken. And once that's done, the chicken is cooked through, remove it from the pan. For the wrap, I'm going to be using a standard store-bought wrap. This is about 176 calories for the wrap, and it works perfect. So use whatever you can get your hands on. This works for me, so I'm using it. Before making the wrap, I just warm up the tortilla on the pan and we're good to go. So lay down your tortilla, some of that slaw, the chicken, and some of the onions and the peppers. And now wrap that baby up. This can take some practice, but the more wraps you make, the better you get at it. Now I just cut into it, and as I always say, just look at that cross section. Anyway, that's a wrap, folks. Our chicken wrap is ready. It looks delicious and clocks in at 440 calories with 31 grams of protein. Enjoy.